Hi, welcome to Calico Flower Studio. I'm Danny, and this is Dahlia. I'm a little incapacitated right now, but yes, hello, say hi. Today I'm going to walk you through how to make a journal with upcycled envelopes. Here's the journal that I'm going to show you how to make. I do not usually do tutorial type videos. I'm more like a join me for the process type of person. I'm not an expert bookmaker. I couldn't even tell you the name of the stitch that I'm using to bind all of the pages together. I don't even know that it has a name. So, and I love that. I think what's beautiful about this YouTube tutorial phenomenon is that it really shows you that there are a million different ways to do one thing, and you have the freedom to accomplish whatever you need to accomplish in whatever way you want to, or whatever gets you there, you know. And even if you don't have an entire roadmap, you will figure it out, and you'll make discoveries and find what works best for you. So I am just winging it out here, man. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. So I just sit back and relax, and maybe take some notes if something strikes you. But for the most part, just relax and enjoy. And please subscribe if you want to keep hanging out on this channel and enjoying the process with me. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, step one, creating the signatures. So what I use for this first step is 20 envelopes, because I'm going to create 10 signatures. Each signature will be made with 2 envelopes. So I need 20 envelopes and double-sided tape. And now you know how much I paid for it. Some water, a little bit of water, and a small paintbrush, and some scissors. All right, so a signature when making a book basically just means two sheets of paper that are 2 pages that are folded together, and they share a spine, like a folded spine type of thing. So with these envelopes, I'm going to attach 2 envelopes together to create one signature. So to make a signature, what I'll do is I'll take one envelope and I'll seal it, you know, with the built-in seal that envelopes typically have. And then I'll use the other envelope and attach the seal. I'll attach them together using the other flap. Okay, so then they'll be stuck together in 2 pages to create one signature. I have nothing but yellow envelopes, but I have various shades. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pair the envelopes together, you know, sort of mixing up the colors, and then I will create the signatures. So I've got my envelopes paired together, and now I'm going to attach them together. For this pair, I'm going to seal this flap. So this is just going to be a sealed envelope, and that's it. So first, because I have a lot of envelopes that I'm going to be sealing, I'm not going to use my tongue. I'm not going to lick these envelopes because that is a lot of saliva. Also, not very sanitary, and it takes a lot of time. So I'm going to use my water here and my little paintbrush, and I'm just going to very, very lightly brush, not too much water, but just a little bit of water along the seal here so that I can seal the envelope. Okay, so that one is sealed. Now, this one, I will use the flap, and I can either fold the flap over the other envelope's flap, like that, or I can flip it over and switch it up and do it on this side so that on the inside of this side you can see the flap. But I think I'm gonna go over the flap. Now, usually if I just wet the seal and then press it down, usually what happens is when I open the envelope, the interior where they meet kind of flips up a little bit, and it's not very, the structure of it is not very sound. So I use double-sided tape, and I'll put just a couple strips of double-sided tape along the inside of this part of the envelope so that when I put the flap down, this area close to the spine of the signature is very structurally sound. It is like stuck, it's sealed, and it's not gonna fall apart basically. So I have my roll and all my trash that I, for some reason, stored in the box. So it is like a peel and stick kind of double-sided tape. Use my scissors, just cut a couple strips here. I think I might do 3 strips. 1 in the middle and 2 on the sides. Now, before I wet and seal, I'm going to make sure that my tape is ready to go by peeling this off. Okay, now I'm going to add my water. Make sure that everything is aligned the way I want it, and then fold. Okay. Okay, so that is one signature. There you go. And now this is sturdy. Okay, now that's one signature. So it's 2 envelopes, 1 signature. And when they're all done, I will stack them all to create the set of pages that will eventually be sewn like this. So here we go. Okay. So now I have my 10 signatures. Now, the next step is creating holes in the sides of the signatures. In order to sew the signatures together, I have to create holes along the spines of the signatures for the thread to thread through. And so every signature has to have holes in the same spot. And I have a tool that I use to keep that consistent. It is a greeting card. It's an old greeting card. I gave it to Nick on his birthday. And this is Nick's birthday card from Dahlia. Of course, I picked it out and I wrote it on her behalf. But this cat is so Dahlia. And like everything else, always, your birthday is all about me. Of course. So, anyway, I used this greeting card because it's pretty sturdy, and I measured out 5 holes and poked them perfectly in the middle of this card. I just need to make sure that I line up the card in the middle each time. And then I get a pillow or something soft, or like a towel or something, and I put it underneath the cards and poke the holes with a needle. So let me get my towel and I will show you what I mean. Okay, so for this next step, I need my tool that I've created out of the greeting card with my pre-measured and pre-poked holes. And then my 10 signatures that I just created. And something soft, like a towel or a pillow. Sometimes if I'm like sitting on the couch watching TV and I'm doing this or something, I'll use like a throw pillow. Oh, hello. I'll use a throw pillow. But if you care about your throw pillows, then maybe use a towel or something. So what I'm going to do now is create holes in every signature. So I'll grab my first one and spread it out on the towel. And then I take my greeting card and I line it up and I just sort of eyeball where the middle is, okay? And then I take my needle and I just poke, 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 okay? And now the signature has the holes. It might be hard to see. Here, I'll open it up. You can just barely see the holes. Okay, so I'm gonna do that for every single envelope. And actually, if you want, I can use this as my template moving forward because it will line up better with the other ones, and it'll guarantee that they're all in the same place on the signatures. So I'll put my already poked one on top of the next one like this, and then poke again. Now, you should be able to see how each signature has a hole and they line up pretty close to the same spot. So I'll take my towel away. And now, the next step is gonna be sewing the signatures together. Eventually, it will look something like this. And what I'm going to use for this step are, of course, my 10 signatures with my holes pre-poked, okay? Some thread. Now this, I couldn't even tell you what this is. This is just thread that I bought at the store. I am like I said, just doing it out here, like not really knowing a whole lot about what I'm doing, just hopping in with what I got. But I know that sometimes people for bookmaking, experts, they like to use maybe waxed thread because it's really strong and it doesn't tangle when you're threading it through the signatures. So that's something to check out if you're really into this kind of thing, but I'm just using regular old thread. And then I have a curved needle, which, oh my God, makes something like this So easy. I love this. I love using this curved needle. You can do this with a regular straight needle, but a curved needle really makes it easy. I'm gonna do one signature at a time, and we'll start from the bottom and then stack on top. So, so we're always, whatever we're adding is being added to the top. So I'll start by pulling the bottom one out and setting the other ones aside, keeping them in order. It's just when I add the next one, I'll pull it from the bottom. I'll thread my needle. The way I like to do it is I like to just like pull a big string, and then when I thread it through the needle, I will do like a double duty, 2 strings, so it's like a double threaded. So I have threaded my needle, and I've got the double thread here, and it's about 3 feet long. That's kind of long, so I might be having trouble, but 2 feet is probably a very happy medium where you can like get quite a bit done with 2 feet of thread, but you're not wrestling with it because it's so long. Anyway, so first I'm going to take my needle and poke it through. I'm going to start at the bottom, poke it through this hole at the end from the outside. Okay, stick it through. I'm going to pull. Long thread. Okay, now I'm going to leave a little tail here, and I'm going to use my left hand to pinch it so that it doesn't get pulled through all the way. It stays out. And then I'll take my needle, and now it's on the inside of the signature, okay? And I'm going to go out the next hole. So I'm going to stick it through and pull it out. Okay, now I'm on the outside, so switch hands here. Pinch my tail again so I don't lose it. Go back in, and then I will repeat this until I get to the end, and then I'll come back away the other way. Okay, so I've gotten to the last hole, and now my needle's on the inside, and I'm just gonna go back down to where I started, but just going in the opposite direction. So now I'm gonna go through this hole here. So now I'm just gonna kind of like tie it off, but this is not the end. Obviously I've got a lot more thread to use. So to tie it off, I will hold on, I'll keep one hand on my tail to kind of keep it from pulling through, but sort of tug on this just a little bit, make sure everything's nice and snug, but not too tight. Don't pull too hard. You don't want to be like too rough about any of this. And I'm going to take my needle to tie it off, and I'm going to slip it under this thread here. Okay, and then with my excess thread here, so it's like this, I'm going to take the needle and hook it under my excess thread so that I'm basically going to create a knot, and I'm just going to pull downward so that the knot ends up toward, like in the thread, the knot is close to the hole. Okay, so if you can kind of see what's going on here. There's my knot. Now I'm going to do this one more time just for good measure. Okay, now that I've got my little baby knot, I'm going to take my thread or my needle, and I'm going to go back through this hole so that I can get my thread on the outside of the signature. Pull it back through. So now my knot and my tail and my needle are all on the outside of the signature, okay? That is the first one. That's how you set it up. Now that I've got it set up, and it's okay that this is a little loose, I'm not worried about that. Now that I've got the first signature, the second signature is going to be a little special. But then the third signature will look like the steps for adding the third signature will look exactly the same as the rest of the signatures. So I will show you the second signature and then the third signature, and then we'll speed it up. So for my second signature, I'm going to pull from the bottom of my stack here so that I keep it in order. I'm going to add it to the top. So I'm going to put it on top here. So I will open it up, open the signature on top of my first one, kind of keep them nice and neat and aligned. And I'm going to hold it with my hands, my right hand like this, and take my needle, and once again, starting from the outside at the bottom, I'm going to go inside the first hole of this signature, okay? All right, and I keep my right hand on here so that everything stays steady and nothing gets all sloppy and difficult to manage. So I'm going to pull it through nice and slow. All right, so that's the first hole. Now, I'll go through the second hole again, from the inside going to the outside, keeping my right hand firm, holding everything in place. Gently pull it through. So to make sure that this signature is attached to the one underneath it at the hole, you see there's my thread coming out of this hole of the second signature, but then the first signature underneath has these horizontal threads here. So what I'll do is I will take my needle and I'm gonna go through the thread of the first signature, okay? So that is going through, and then on the right side, on one side of the hole of the first signature, and then I'll take my thread to come back up. So I went down through, and then I'm going to come back up, going underneath this thread again. Okay, like that. Pulling on my thread. Okay, so now, if you can see, this thread has been hooked onto the first signature now. So I will do that. Okay, and then I'm gonna go take my needle and go back through the hole that I came from. I'm gonna go back inside. If I can freaking get it, okay. All right, let me pull it. Boop. So now it's a little loose because I want you to be able to see what's going on, but you see how I've hooked it. And then you can pull it taut, but not too tight. You don't want to be too tight about any of this. Okay, so I'll do it again. I'll show you. So I'm gonna go out the hole. Okay. Keeping it nice and steady with my right hand, and then lift it up here. Take my needle, go down, okay, on the right side of this hole, and then I'll go back up underneath the thread. And then I'm going to go back into the hole. There you go. And then I'll do that a couple more times. Okay, so for the last hole of the second signature, I went down as I did before. I'll show you. I went down and hooked underneath the thread of the first signature, but this time I am not going to go back in like I did for the other ones. I'm not going to go back in. I'm going to stay on the outside with my needle, stay on the outside of the signature, and this time I'm going to add my third signature on top before I go back in. And that's what's gonna kind of like begin the next set, okay? So again, come to my pile, grab the envelope on the bottom and stack it on top here, okay? Open it up, place my right hand here, keep it nice and steady, so that everything just stays, just keeping control of everything so I'm not overwhelmed. Take my needle and I'm gonna go through the first hole of the third signature from the outside. So now I've gone into the first hole and I'm gonna go out to the second hole. And pull it completely, okay? So far, so good. Keep my right hand here, nice and steady, fold it over, okay? So now this is where things are a little different. Instead of going down and under the thread of the first signature, I'm going to take my needle. Now this is kind of tricky, and this is where having a curved needle is really nice. I'm going to go between, so I'm basically gonna hook the thread that's hook my my loose thread around the thread that is holding together the first two signatures, okay? So I'm going to take my needle. It doesn't matter which side, just so long as it gets hooked. So try to go above that thread there, you can see. But I'm gonna stick my needle between the last two signatures and curve it and come around. Okay, so I'm like hooking over here. Around the last signature, okay? So I've hooked it, and now I'm gonna go back in this hole and do it again on the next hole. Show you again. Take the needle and hook it. Hi, Dahlia. Oh, hello, my sweet girl. So, anyway, I'm gonna hook, come back out. So you can see my needle is in between the first two, and that is what is basically attaching the third signature to the first ones. Okay, pulling nice and steady. Okay, so you see how it's kind of hooked? And then I'm gonna go back in and just continue. Okay, so now I'm at the last one. All right, I'm still gonna hook, but This time I will not go back into the signature because I'm going to add the next one. Okay, so in this last one, same thing, just hook it under the last hole. And there's my little tail. It's okay that there's a tail because this is like the spine of the book, and it will be covered by the cover eventually, which we will get to. Okay, so I'm not going to go back in because I'm going to add the next signature and do that whole thing over again. And I'll do this until I've completed all my signatures. And then I'll check back in and tell you how I tie it off. Okay, so I've gotten to a point where I am getting low on thread. My thread has gotten significantly shorter. I have a good amount left, but I want to make sure that I can very cleanly tie it off and start anew and just add more thread. I get to the end of a signature, so I'm at the end of this signature. Okay, I happen to be at the top, and I've gotten to the point where I've hooked it through and I've pulled it out, and the next step usually would be adding another signature. Oh my goodness, Dolly is putting her paw on my leg because she wants to sit in my lap. Oh, baby. You want to sit on the table? Why don't you sit on the table? All right. Instead of adding another signature and going back in with the needle, I will actually go back into this same signature with the needle, but I'm going to do that little tying off move that I did on the very first signature. And I'm going to go back into this signature, back into the hole. Okay. And just like I did with the first signature, I will create a knot. So let me come down here so you can see. So again, just kind of like holding it, making sure that it doesn't get too loose. Take my needle and go underneath this thread here. And then through the loop to create a knot, which I pull towards the hole. Okay, got my first knot. Now I will do it again, just for good measure. Get a double knot. You could do a triple knot if you really want to. Okay, and then I come back out the hole, pull out my tail and my knot. Okay, and this, and I will cut off my excess thread and make a new thread. So I'm just going to start again through the same hole and make another knot, just like I just did before, and that will just be what connects this next string with the last string. And then I'll take my needle and I'll go out of this hole and pull the knot through. And then I will have set myself up to continue. Okay, so now I'm at the final signature. I'm about to hook it. Okay, so basically to end this part of the process, I'm gonna tie it off just like I did twice before. Oh, it's my hair. Just like I did twice before earlier. So I've hooked at the last hole of the last signature, and then I'm just gonna go back inside the book and do a couple of knots here. Pull my needle back to the outside, pull the knot out, and then cutter, and voila, that's that. They're all sewn together. I got my tails here. Got 3 tails. But yeah. So now they're all attached and got pages. Okay, so now to make this into a full-on journal, and also just to give it some even more structural integrity, I'm going to create hardback covers. I'm going to show you this step with a different book because I need to get more material to create a hardcover that will fit a book of this size. So I'm going to show you what using some material I've already cut for a smaller book. As you can see, this book's kind of fun because the envelopes are not all the same size, which is okay. It's kind of cool, kind of fun, creative, and they're all different colors. It's awesome. But basically, this is like a mat board, kind of like cardboard, kind of strong. I've cut it. This has a little extra space, which I kind of like. It's not necessary, but I like that. I'm going to embellish these covers, these hard covers, with fabric. So I'm going to glue fabric onto the front and make sure to fold it into the other side to make it give it a nice design element. Okay, so I'm going to use this really fun, pretty floral fabric. So I cannot recommend any kind of like specific glue. I just use glue stick. If you're like very particular about using, special glue or bookmaking glue or archival glue, then like go for it. You can do that research. But for the purpose of this, I'll just show you with what I typically use, which is a glue stick. I like to use glue stick because it's dry. It's not a wet glue. And if you use usually when I use a wet glue, it causes like wrinkles and bubbles and like weird warping of the cardboard and the fabric, and it's just a mess. So I like to use glue stick because, yeah, it's dry. And it works. Once I got it all covered in gluey before it dries, I flip it over and stick it onto the fabric. And then I'm gonna flip the fabric over and just press it flat onto the cardboard here. Okay, so I've cut out the corners here. And I'm gonna start by folding in the 2 long flaps and gluing those down with the glue stick once again. Okay, now that I've got those 2 sides glued down, I'll take these sides and sort of fold them like if you're folding a present, and fold those corners in and glue it up like that. Cool. Okay, so I have done both covers now with the excess fabric folded over the back and glued. So now comes the part where we put it all together. So now, in order to adhere the pages to the cover, I'm going to use a much stronger glue. Now, again, I cannot make any specific recommendation. I am just going to be using some glue that I have and that I know is incredibly strong. I'm just going to use Gorilla Glue. So I can't necessarily recommend it though, because I don't know what's best for bookmaking, but that's something that you can definitely research and decide for yourself. Make sure the edge is aligned here. So I'm going to put a book on this, or something heavy and flat, and then let it dry for a little bit, and then come back and do the final touch. Okay, so I've taken a little break, snuggled with my cats, and drank some water. And I think the covers are pretty glued down. Like I said earlier, when I glue the covers on, I make sure that the spine of the pages is flush with one side, because then when you open it, you don't want the covers to, you want it to be able to open all the way without the covers banging into each other. So I can open it all the way, and it works. And now I'm going to add the last touch, which is a spine made of canvas. I cut this strip of canvas. It's from canvas material that I have left over from previous painting projects, and it is pre-primed, which is nice. So one side is already primed with gesso or gesso, however you want to say it, and the other side is just raw canvas. And I like to use the raw canvas as the outside of my spine here, because I just like the way that raw canvas looks. I like the aesthetic of that, but also because when I adhere this to the spine of the book, the primed part of the canvas will stick much better than the raw canvas side. I just take this strip of canvas and wrap it on the side and make sure that it's nice and even on both sides. And then with my very strong glue, I glue it down. And my strip of canvas is not perfect, but that's okay, because I think it just adds to the character of the book. And there you have it. That is my handmade journal with upcycled envelopes. So if you have any questions about my process, then feel free to drop them in the comments below. And I guess Suggestions are welcome, but like I said, I do not claim to be an expert bookmaker. I just wanted to share my process with you and how I make my books, because like I said before, everybody has their own way of doing everything, and there are a million ways to do the same thing, and I think that's beautiful, and I think that's what's so lovely about the YouTube community and like YouTube tutorials in general is like, if you want to learn how to do something, there's so many different resources out there, and people do this type of thing in so many ways. And this is just how I do mine and how I've kind of figured it out for myself. And I encourage you to find the freedom in whatever process you have to make it your own and discover things for yourself and learn through doing. So yeah, give it a try if you want to. I definitely encourage that, and let me know how it goes. So with that, if you enjoyed this tutorial or this process vlog, I guess, then please subscribe, and you can keep hanging out with me on this channel. Like I said too, I don't normally do like straight up tutorials, but yeah, please subscribe. It's totally free, and it really helps out my channel, so why not, right? And I hope to see you next time. Have a wonderful, beautiful, lovely day, and I'll see you next time.